Good morning everyone. Today in this video lecture, we are going to learn about material characterization of nanomaterials by scanning electron microscope. Characterization of nanomaterials, scanning electron microscope. Normally, uh, when you want to observe the objects, we first view with our human eye. The average human eye can see objects approximately 0.1 mm size. But to observe objects smaller than this, we need some instruments like an optical microscope or an electron microscope. Earlier, light microscopes, so normally common microscopes, were used to examine the objects, but these magnify only to a limited extent, that is up to 1000 times magnification. But the scientific desire to see the final details of the interior structure of an organic cell demands 1 lakh plus magnification, which was not possible by current optical microscopes. So what is this electron microscope? This electron microscope is an imaging tool with much better imaging resolution as compared to optical microscope. So compared to optical microscope, electron microscope can resolve the objects more in a better way. So this is the size, the distribution, the what extent the human eye can see or optical microscope, thereby electron microscope. The human eye can see optical microscopes. So hair, water fleas that we can see, honeybee that we can see. So this is the 10 mm size. This is the 1 mm size, and the 100 micrometers, the human eye that we can see. Less than that we cannot see. So bacteria. If you want to see the bacteria, you normally require the optical microscope. The bacteria which is in between this 1 micrometer to 10 micrometers, up to some extent of micrometers, we can see the optical microscope. More than the smaller size, when we just observed in nanometers, then optical microscope is not possible. So there we normally require electron microscope. So electron microscope that we can resolve, we can view with a high magnification. So even up to 1 nanometer size. So that is the advantage of electron microscope. So human eye see the reflected rays from the light on the eye, and the optical microscope can see using a light. The light wavelength rays is in 350 nanometers to 750 nanometers size. So within that light range size objects that we can see here, but below that we cannot see. So what we can use here to see below this 500 nanometers. So below this or up to 1 nanometer size that we want to see, then we normally required the wavelength of that particular particle, like a light particle, the wavelength of the particle should be the size of this 1 nanometer or below this. This 1 nanometer or below this, the size is the electron is having. So electron wavelength size of objects that we can see with the electron. So here we normally incident electrons here, and here we normally incident light So that's it is called a light microscope, or otherwise it is called electron microscope. Electrons are used to incident to view the objects. Then we normally call it as a electron microscope. So what is an electron microscope? Electron microscopes are scientific instruments that use a beam of highly accelerated electrons which are focused on the surface of the materials and scan materials on a fine and very small scale. These electron microscopes are available in two types. One is a scanning electron type, that we can call it as a scanning electron microscope. Popularly, we normally call it as a SEM. The second one is a transmission electron type. The transmission electrons that we can use it to observe the objects. So we can call it as a transmission electron microscope. Otherwise, popularly, it is called as TEM. So what is the use of a SEM? SEM is used observing the fine structure of specimen surface. Fine structure of specimen surface at high magnifications, and TEM is used observing the inner structure of a specimen at high magnification. So SEM for the surface and TEM for the inner structure of a specimen. So both will give a better information about the specimen. Let's compare images of an optical microscope and a SEM. Suppose when we just view a fiber through a optical microscope, the images look like this. So the extent that we can see the fibers in this way. But the same fibers that we can view with a SEM. See, this is the image. This is the image at 100 plus magnification. Suppose we can just increase the magnification to 100 times over this optical microscope. This is the view. If this is multiplied in 400 magnification, 4000 magnifications, then what we normally get, this will be, so each thread of the fiber that we can see, this is the thread of the fiber. Still further, if you just increase the magnification and the spots, this is an organic matter, and the spots are inorganic in nature. So inorganic embedded organic matter is also can be viewed when we just magnified 15,000 times. So SEM is a device we can magnify even up to 6 lakhs times. So this is the advantage of the SEM. We can see the inner part of the structure in a more resolved manner. We can see even the distinctions. So it is resolving what is there inside and what is the distance, what are the characteristics of this, everything that we can learn from this SEM. So first today in the electron microscope, we are just going to learn about the scanning electron microscope. SEM. What is a scanning electron microscope? A scanning electron microscope is a type of electron microscope that images a sample by scanning it with high energy beam of electrons in a raster scan pattern. So we just impinge the electrons and scan the sample. In this, we are hitting the beam in a raster scan pattern. This is a very important. What is this raster scan pattern? Suppose this is the specimen. The atoms are present like this. So raster scan pattern means suppose this will move here like this, like this, like this. So just have a look here. Suppose first the electron will move like this here. This particular part is over, then it will come, it will impinge like this. and then it will impinge like this, then it can, so it will cover scan entire the specimen. So that we can call it as a raster scan pattern. The electrons interact with the atoms that make up a sample, producing signals. So when they interact with the atoms, they produce signals that contain qualitative information about the sample surface properties of a material. So what is the surface consists of? What are the atoms or how they are arranged? What are those atoms? Everything, the qualitative information that we normally get about the surface of the specimen by the interaction of electrons with the atoms in a scanning electron microscope. So what properties we can extract? The surface properties. What are those surface properties? The first one is topography. The surface, what is a topography? Surface features of an object is texture, smoothness, and roughness. We normally call them as topography. That information that we'll get here. And morphology, the shape and size of the particles. The composition, what are the elements and compounds that constitute the material. And the next one is crystallography, the arrangement of atoms in the material. The topography, morphology, composition, and crystallography information of the surface that we will get while using scanning electron microscope. So what is the principle of electron microscope? The SEM instrument is based on the principle that primary electrons emitted from the electron gun are scanned across the sample surface by scanning coils in a raster pattern. So electrons emitted from the gun, electron gun, and they will be scanned on the sample by scanning coils in a raster pattern. So once this primary electron beam hits the sample surface, then the impinging electrons emit a variety of signals such as secondary electrons, backscattered electrons, and X-rays. So what will happen? So this is a pictorial representation of the SEM. We impinge the primary electrons through scanning coils like this. So this is the source we normally get from the electron gun. These electrons hit the sample surface. Once it hit the sample surface, it will produce the backscattered electrons, the secondary electrons, and the characteristic X-rays. So that we just learned in the last. Once the primary electron beam hits the sample surface, the impinging electrons emit a variety of signals such as secondary electrons, backscattered electrons, and photons. So we normally require what is the secondary, what are secondary electron emissions or backscattered electrons or X-rays. Suppose this is the atom, this is the K, L, M, and K and L shells. The electrons are there here. Assume that. And this is the electron gun. From that, electrons are releasing. What we just learned, the electron releases and hit the surface in a raster pattern. Then the electron impinged on the surface will give three important characteristics. One is it will backscatter the electrons, or it will give secondary electrons, or it will give X-rays. What is a backscattered electron? Suppose the primary electron, this is called a primary electron. And from the electron gun that we normally, it's a primary electron. The primary electron hit here and goes back like this. So that we can call it as a secondary electron. Once it hit the electron, it will move here. So that electron from the that K shell will emit here. So this is called a secondary electron. So the electron that we are getting on the prime electron gun is called a primary electron. Once it hit the sample and move back, then it is called a backscattered electron. The electron which is inside the K shell will come out from the K shell or the atom, that we can call it as a secondary electron. The electrons coming out of from the atoms, we can call them as secondary electrons. So when the electron leave the K shell, immediately the higher energy L shell electron will move to the K shell like this. So higher energy shell electron move to the lower energy shell. Then what will happen? This movement will releases again an energy. This energy will be released in the form of X-rays. In the form of X-rays. So we normally get like this. Backscattered electron is nothing but the electron, the primary electron, one hits the atom and move back again. So that is called a backscattered electron. With the depth it will go and coming back. The second one is a secondary electron, the electron which come out from the atoms, that is called secondary electron. Then what are X-rays? When the secondary electron come out, the L shell electron, higher energy electron, will load to come to the lower energy state. So higher energy to lower energy, it emits the energy rays. So that energy rays that we get in the form of X-rays. So X-rays are nothing but this. These three, the secondary electrons, backscattered electrons, and X-rays will provide a qualitative information. So if you use a detector to detect these electrons, they normally provide an information. Secondary electrons indicate sample morphology and topography. The roughness, the smoothness, the texture of the surface, or the size and shape of the surface, this information that we normally get by secondary electrons. Backscattered electrons used for demonstrating the composition, the atomic number of the atom and that's composition of that particular the specimen that we normally get from backscattered electrons, the information. The X-rays provide a crystallography information and a chemical information. That is nothing but how the atoms are arranged and what are the elemental analysis of the sample. What are the elements normally present in the sample? So this information that we'll get. So that's the total qualitative information, morphology, topography, composition, and crystallographic information that we normally get from this SEM. The signals gathered by electron collectors, otherwise we can call them as a detectors, which are then manipulated by the computer to form a required image. So these electrons that we collect in a detector and we will manipulate and will try to prepare an image. That image will give the information about morphology, topology, composition, and crystallographic information. So this is what the instrument of the SEM. The SEM is a SEM is an electronic and optical system which consists of following components. First, you normally have an electron gun. Then you normally have the vacuum. Then a column. So from here to here, we'll have a column. This column consists of the condenser anode, condenser lens, and condenser lens and objective lens. Stick matter. This stick matter is will correct the signals or the lenses. The lenses will be corrected by this stick matter. Optical correction will be given by this stick matter. And the sample. Here it is. We have the samples. The sample holder. This is the sample holder. And detectors. These are the detectors. This is the one detector. This is the other detector, and this is the third detector. This is called a backscattered detector and secondary detector and X-ray detector. Okay, here it is. We can call this is a sample chamber. Sample chamber. So why we normally require a vacuum? Normally electrons emitted from the electron gun, if air is there, because air particles can obstruct this movement of the electrons. So that's why we should not need any obstruction of this particular electron. They have to, because high accelerated electrons that we normally require. So they should not be abstracted. So to overcome this, we normally maintain a vacuum here. This is a vacuum chamber. Then what is an anode? Anode is an accelerator of electrons. So the speed of the electrons can be controlled by this anode. So process, how to do the working of this SEM. In principle, first the gun emits electron beam, which is held within a vacuum, which follows a vertical travel path through electromagnetic fields and lenses. Condenser lens means here the electromagnetic materials that will place here, they will direct the electron beam towards the sample in a orderly manner. The electron beam is focused by objective lens on the specimen. So they condense it. They will be condensed. Any spread is there in the electron process, they will be condensed and directed throughout the other electron lens and to the objective lens. This objective lens, the main importance is it will direct all the electrons onto the sample. Here we normally have some scanning coils. These scanning coils will direct the electron beam to move on the sample in a raster pattern. So then the focus beam scan over a specific area of the specimen surface where the focused beam is rastered across the surface of the materials with the help of a detector or a deflector coils, which is controlled by scan generator. Magnification controls the size of the raster pattern. The changes in magnification changes the size of the raster area on the sample. So magnification, the how much magnification that we normally require, this we can use magnify by the lenses, the electromagnetic lenses. So the raster pattern will control by this magnification. The changes in magnification changes in the size of the raster area of the sample. When the electron beam hits the material, this strike produces a huge number of signals. When once from the objective lens, the electron beam strike the specimen in a raster pattern, we just learned that it will produce the three important signals: the backscattered electrons, secondary electrons, and X-rays. So these will be detected by detectors. So this is what the process, the working of SEM. The same that we can view in the form of a small video. Sorry. The scanning electron microscope. So it's a powerful imaging technique that produces a large magnified image up to 6 lakhs times. So this is what the instrument is. The skeleton form of the instrument, the inside parts. So just look at the skeleton. This is an electron gun. This is the anode, accelerate the voltage and accelerate the electrons here. The magnetic lenses will direct the beam And scanning coils, as I just, these coils are helpful in impinging the electron in a raster pattern. So backscatter electron detector, secondary electron detector, and energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy detector. Specimen. So this is what the skeleton, the stage of the specimen, this skeleton view of the SEM. So for our understanding here, the colors will be given. The primary electron indicated by blue, secondary electron by red, backscattered electron by light blue, and X-rays by purple color. So here we are impinging the electrons passing through anode, magnetic lens, coil. So it is impinging. See how the electrons will get back. So this is the secondary electron imaging. So that's why we normally get the red color, and we can see that the raster pattern. The same view that we can see even for the backscattered electrons. See how backscattered electrons will get electron impinging electrons from the gun. See, this is the raster scatter pattern. How here the electrons are moving and emitting the backscattered electrons. So this blue color are backscattered electrons. So one row, one row, one row, the impinging of electrons will take place. So this we normally call it as a raster scan pattern. The same we can view energy dispersed to X-ray. The same way, how you normally get X-ray, electron, X-rays, raster scan pattern. This is the beautiful view of raster scan pattern. We have to appreciate who prepared this video. Beautifully they prepared. So this is the view. Primary electron hit. It comes, it's a backscattered electron. This is a secondary electron. L2K, and this is the X-ray. So all three that we normally get, all three, X-ray will go to the X-ray detector, secondary electron will go to secondary electron detectors, and this is a backscattered electron detector. So all three will be detected and scan the image. So this is how you just look like the scanning, the images. Thank you very much. The next one is advantages of the SEM. SEM has an advantage. It has enhanced magnification, can be magnified up to 6 lakhs times, and bigger depth of focus, high resolution, otherwise you can call it the superior resolution, and ease of sample surveillance. Otherwise we can say that the sample can be prepared very easily in this SEM. The applications of the SEM: to know the information about the topography, morphology, and composition of the materials, to examine microscopic objects like bacteria and viruses, to know the crystalline structure of samples. SEM is used in industries like the microelectronics, semiconductors, food processing, to examine the surface, and to know the shape and size of the particles in cosmetic industry. Everywhere we normally use this scanning electron microscope. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.